honor, strength, fortitude. He was a player who was beloved all throughout the land, a player who wore his heart on his sleeve, who left it all on the ice when the moment needed him. He was a player who could tolerate being wronged but would go absolutely apeshit if his teammates were the target instead. His gaze alone was enough to send his rivals cowering in fear, rendering them completely and thoroughly petrified. The heart and soul of any cup contender. Standing at 6'1", 219 pounds, with 4 Stanley Cups to his name, number 25, DMac, Darren McCarty.
McCarty comes back with Neiman in front of him. McCarty draws. McCarty in. McCarty scores! A magnificent goal! Darren McCarty!
Darren Douglas McCarty was born on April 1st, 1972 in Burnaby, British Columbia, Canada. Moving east at the age of 2 to Leamington, Ontario, McCarty would later get a taste of hockey, and he would never look back. As he recalls, his parents had to pull him from hockey for a year because he refused to wear a cup. Clearly, even from a young age, DMac had balls of steel. He would go on to play minor hockey for the South Point Capitals, followed by a stint with the Peterborough Roadrunners before joining the Belleville Bulls of the Ontario Hockey League. It was a pretty standard path for a Canadian kid with aspirations to one day play professionally, until his coach called him over, telling him he had to change his game to a more physical variety if he ever had hopes to make it into the big leagues. And a young Darren McCarty, who had always left it all on the line, would embrace the physical side of the game, hitting, fighting, enforcing. In his third and final season at Belleville, McCarty captained the team as he was awarded with the Jim Mahon Memorial Trophy as the top scoring right winger with 127 points in just 65 games. Just look at the players who have won it since. In the 1992 NHL entry draft, Darren McCarty was selected in the second round, 46th overall by the Detroit Red Wings, a team who he followed for much of his upbringing. He would spend the following year in the minors before joining the Red Wings for his rookie season in 93-94. Although McCarty's consistent offensive numbers didn't follow him to the NHL, his heart and physicality did, and during that first season, under the influence of his idol growing up, Bob Probert, McCarty would work on his fighting game as he quickly flourished into one of the league's most intimidating enforcers. He was fearless, regularly finishing his checks and putting his body in the face of danger, all for his team. He was terrifying, always playing in-your-face hockey and perpetually making the ice a living hell for his opponents. He was responsible as he maintained his discipline in his defensive game, later being a mainstay in the renowned Rhineline, tasked with wearing down the opposition's top scorers. But perhaps most importantly, Darren McCarty always had his teammates' backs. He never went out looking to injure anyone, but boy, if you tried to hurt a teammate of his, you'd have a target on your back until justice was served. He may have had average numbers in the regular season, but it was in the playoffs that he was worth his weight in gold. His alpha dog style of play was perfect for a 7-game series. He could dish it out whenever he wanted to. He could shut down opponents whenever he wanted to, and as he's proved time and time again, he was able to do all that while chipping in for the big goal. And due to all these characteristics and intangibles, DMac was revered by both his teammates and fans alike. Alright, if you made it this far, it's time to put your knowledge to the test. What was Darren McCarty's hockey superstition? The answer will be revealed later in the video. The Red Wings at the time were perennial Stanley Cup contenders, but after getting swept by the New Jersey Devils in the 1995 Stanley Cup Finals, they returned for the 95-96 season determined to bounce back stronger. McCarty helped the Red Wings win 62 regular season games that year, securing the President's Trophy as the team with the most points. Heading into the playoffs as massive favorites again, they would meet the Colorado Avalanche in the conference finals, as an epic rivalry was born. The tight series went back and forth, and in Game 6 with the Red Wings desperately facing elimination, Claude Lemieux would catch Chris Draper dead in the numbers, sending him to the hospital with a broken jaw and a shattered cheek and orbital bone. Lemieux would receive a 5 in a game, but the Avs would end up winning the game and the series. Claude Lemieux received a 2-game suspension for the hit, and the Red Wings were enraged as they felt that was not a sufficient punishment. Darren McCarty, who was a close friend of Draper, took it upon himself to exact revenge and take matter into his own hands. In the following 96-97 season, the Red Wings would lose the first out of 4 regular season games against the Avalanche. It was as if there was a curse set on them, and the team knew if they were ever going to become champions, they would have to get through them. And the stage was set for the most epic game of McCarty's career, a game that defined his status in Red Wings history. March 26, 1997, at the Joe Louis Arena in the final meeting of the two Giants before the playoffs. The Red Wings knew they had to win the game, and they entered the game with that goal in mind. A couple of fights and skirmishes broke out, and it was clear that neither team was going to yield an inch. And then the game reached a boiling point, and to everyone's astonishment, it was the most unlikeliest of combatants in Igor Larionov who blew the war horn, and all hell broke loose as McCarty stared right into Lemieux's eyes and knocked him right out, breaking both the curse and Lemieux's face. McCarty would return for a second fight, this time against Adam Deadmarsh, but the most significant moment was yet to come. As the fights continued, so did the scoring, and the game entered overtime as the teams were deadlocked at 5 apiece. And it was as if the fights energized him, as Darren McCarty would score one of his biggest goals in his career to secure the win. And the Red Wings ended the night firmly believing they could finally beat the Colorado Avalanche in a best-of-7 series. As fate would have it, the two powerhouses would meet again in the conference finals later that year. The Avalanche would win the first game, and the Red Wings knew they had to win Game 2 to even the series, and with the team up a goal with over a minute left, who was on the ice to defend that lead? Darren McCarty, who not only served as a defensive weapon, but he would go the other way to clinch that victory, and the Red Wings would go on to triumph in 6 games. In the Stanley Cup Finals against the Philadelphia Flyers, McCarty would again lead the charge with his physicality, but it was something else that he would end up being remembered for. With the Red Wings up 3-0 in the series and looking for the sweep in Game 4, McCarty would score the most skilled goal of his career, and what a time to do it, as it was the goal that would go on to win Goal of the Year, a goal that would clinch the Stanley Cup. And admirably, he had impressed head coach Scotty Bowman enough for him to have McCarty on the ice for the final shift, as he saw the final seconds in the 1-goal game. Was there anything this man couldn't do? McCarty would capture his second and third Stanley Cups with the Red Wings in 1998 and 2002 as he continued to come up big in the playoffs. Most notably, he recorded a hat-trick against Patrick Roy and the Avalanche in the 2002 conference finals, catapulting the team to that third Stanley Cup. After the 2004-2005 lockout, the Red Wings had no choice but to buy out McCarty's contract, but he later signed with the Calgary Flames. He most notably scored the overtime winner that year in Game 1 as the team lost in 7. As he returned for a second season with the Flames, he failed to record a point for the first and only time in his career. Years of alcohol abuse and gambling addiction had taken its toll, and he was forced to file for bankruptcy, and he had completely reached rock bottom. It is now the start of the 2007-2008 season, and McCarty looked to save his career and his life. He confided in best friend Chris Draper and then later in Chris Osgood, as they helped him on a path to sobriety, peak physical shape, and ultimately a return to hockey. McCarty started the very next day, putting in the work and passing every fitness test thrown at him. His flickering flame failed to die out, and after a short stint with the Flint Generals of the IHL and impressing in a pro tryout with the Grand Rapids Griffins of the AHL, he was upgraded to the Red Wings lineup late in the season, playing 3 regular season games before suiting up for 17 in the playoffs, chipping in for a goal and an assist as the team went on to win the Stanley Cup that year. For fans, McCarty's return was pure nostalgia. For McCarty, it was redemption. In the off-season, he signed a 1-year deal to remain with the Red Wings, but after bouncing in and out of the lineup with stints in the AHL, McCarty was at the sunset of his career, and on December 7, 2009, he announced his retirement, accepting a job as a color analyst for Versus. McCarty would end up writing an autobiography, as well as starting his own medical marijuana company, sharing the plant that helped him overcome the harsh effects of alcoholism. Alright, earlier I had asked, what was Darren McCarty's hockey superstition? The answer is D. He had to be the last one on and off the ice. Darren McCarty will be remembered for his willingness and desire to protect his teammates. His abilities to fight and enforce meant his teammates had freedom to showcase their puck skills. He was far from a one-trick pony, as his defensive awareness and ability to chip in for 30-40 points a year allowed him to stamp his authority on a dynasty of a team that was the Detroit Red Wings. The Red Wings were in the midst of a 4-decade-long cup drought in the mid-90s, and they went on to win 4 Stanley Cups. The player who was there every step of the way, none other than DMac. He was never the goal scorer nor the most creative player, but when it came to value in a player in the playoffs, there weren't many who could surpass him. Scotty Bowman once stated that Darren McCarty was his second favorite right winger to ever play for him. And who was the first? Guy Lafleur. McCarty believes that whenever you reach a wall, it doesn't matter where you're from or what rivalry it is, the only way out is through. And he's proved that time and time again on and off the ice, and it is with this I'd like us to take a lesson from Darren McCarty. Everyone is faced with difficulties, and just like DMac, you should face the problem head on and never back down. Don't just run to the finish line, but smash right through it at maximum speed. He was faced with adversity on numerous occasions, and every time he would get the last laugh. With the Darren McCarty type of attitude, one can overcome any problem. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. If you're currently not subscribed, let's go! And if you enjoyed the video, consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, and commenting. See you soon.